The story, chapter 1, the beginning of life as we know it. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis 1:1. Before there was anything, there was God. God is the main character at the center of our entire story. And in the beginning, God had a vision, a great and grand and glorious vision for creating heaven and earth and much, much more. The creation. With sweeping brushstrokes, God painted creation across the emptiness. Let there be light, God called into the darkness, and a sweep of brightness blazed across the blank canvas. God called the light day, and the darkness God called night. That was day 1. On day 2, God called out into the light, let there be space between the water above and the water below. God called this big blue area sky. Let the water gather in one place so land will appear, God commanded on day 3, and it was so. Then God said, let the land produce plants and trees bearing fruit, and the sweet smell of lilacs and apple blossoms filled the air. On day 4, God said, let the sun shine on the earth to mark the day, and let the moon and the sparkling stars mark the night. And it happened. Then on day 5, God said, let creatures fill the oceans and rivers and the lakes and the streams. Let birds fly high in the sky, and sunfish and porpoises splashed in the waves, while eagles and robins soared above them. On the 6th day, God said, let living creatures roam the earth, and animals of every shape and size and color appeared. Then God stepped back, pleased with creation, and it was all good. But something was missing. God made the earth, the sky, and everything in it, but this was not God's entire plan. God was not finished. The best was yet to come. Also, on the 6th day, God did God's finest work. God created people in God's own image. God created a man named Adam and a woman named Eve. God now had a part of creation that God could have a close and loving relationship with. Then God stepped back, took a look, and said, this is very good. God's children make a choice. Life in God's beautiful garden was off to a great start. Adam and Eve made themselves right at home, hiking trails, splashing in clear streams, and racing across green fields. Adam and Eve spent their days watching the animals romping and roaming around their new playground, and spent cool evenings counting stars. At bedtime, they drifted into dreams as larks sang them to sleep. Life was good in God's perfect garden. The food in God's garden was plentiful. After all that hiking, swimming, and climbing, Adam and Eve were hungry. God showed them the delicious buffet awaiting them, crispy sweet carrots, mouth-watering mangoes, crunchy nuts, and plump berries. But when Adam and Eve reached for the fruit in the center of the garden, God spoke up. Anything but that one. That fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil is not for you to eat. So Adam and Eve obeyed for a while. But one day a sneaky snake enticed Eve to try the forbidden fruit. Try this. It's the best in the garden. One little bite won't hurt. So Eve plucked a piece and took a bite, and then gave some to Adam. When God found Adam and Eve hiding in the bushes, God knew they had disobeyed. I will always love you, God said. But since you disobeyed me, you cannot live in this beautiful garden anymore. Adam and Eve were sorry they could no longer be with God in the garden. They left with heavy hearts, but they were thankful they had not lost the most important thing of all, God's love. One good man deserves a fresh start. Many years passed. Adam and Eve had children, who had more children, who had more children. Soon there were people all over the world, but they turned into selfish and greedy people. None of them cared about God. No one. No one, that is, except Noah. Noah was a good man who loved God. God made a plan to start all over with Noah. Noah, because you love me, I will save you and your family. But you have to do your part. Go and build an ark, a huge boat. Collect animals of every kind and food to feed them all. Take your wife and your sons and their wives too. Then watch and wait. I will send water from heaven and water from the deep parts of the earth to cover the entire world. The flood will wipe out everything, but you will be safe in the ark. Noah believed God, and Noah obeyed God. Noah built the huge boat and marched the animals into the ark. Every bird and beast and creeping thing, panda bears and pythons, camels and chameleons, elephants and egrets. When the animals were in place in the ark and Noah and his family were settled in their new home, God closed the door and sealed it shut. Then God opened the windows of heaven and rain poured down out of the sky. The lakes, rivers, streams, and oceans surged over their banks. As the fountains of the deep poured over the earth, the water rose and the land and the mountains disappeared. Days, weeks, and months passed. Noah and his family lived on the ark for more than 40 days and 40 nights, waiting for God's signal that it was safe to leave. First, it stopped raining. Then the water began to go down. Noah released birds out of the ark to see if they could find a place to rest. When he sent out a dove for the third time, the bird did not return. This meant the dove had found a dry place to live. It was a great day when Noah and his family and all the animals joyfully left the ark to live on the earth